What's up, YouTube? Georgia Silver Hunter back, and I know my last video I said it was going to be the last of 2023, and honestly, it may have been. I don't know if I'm going to get this out in time, but when I was returning those customer rolls from my last hunt, the Wells Fargo said they had a little drop, or not a little drop, a huge drop from the local car wash. I decided not to get all of them because they had something like $1,000 in quarters from the car wash, so I just picked up $200 worth. As you can see, I've got a couple of different types of wraps in here, which makes me believe, I don't know if these were all from the car wash, unless that car wash is getting lots and lots of different types of wraps. This may actually be multiple different customers, and I can tell you this red one, I took a peek inside when I was at the bank, and the top one's a Bicentennial, so I wouldn't be surprised if we find more Bicentennials in there. I get excited when I find these kinds of wraps because you don't find them all over the place these days. So anyway, with that, let's go ahead and jump into these quarters and hope we find some interesting errors, maybe some silver, and we'll see what else we can find. So I did want to go ahead and start with this red roll because, like I said, when you opened it up, I could see that there was a Bicentennial in there. I don't know if you can see that, but let's go ahead and get this whole roll laid out. Oh yeah, I'm seeing lots of Bicentennials. So if you've been following the channel for any length of time, you know that I do collect the Bicentennial quarters if they're in good shape. And one of the coins on my bucket list is the Bicentennial Denver double die obverse. So I am not going to make you guys watch me go through every single one of these on camera, but they look like they're in pretty good condition. So this one I would have to assume either came from a collector, or we've got someone at the car wash who's paying attention to the quarters they're getting, and maybe we're not going to find much of anything, but some of these are pretty darn nice looking. Hopefully there's a few Denvers in there. They've all been Phillies so far. All right, well, I'll go off camera. I'll hunt through these. If we find anything interesting, I'll let you know. All right, well, we have sorted through them. We ended up with, if I did my count right, like 18 of the Denvers, and they're just absolutely gorgeous quarters. You know, a lot of times you get Bicentennials and they're pretty beat up, but these things look pretty much uncirculated. At least a lot of them do. That is just a beautiful, beautiful coin. I'll check and see, like, if we were to get that graded, what that would be worth and put it on the screen. Maybe if it was like an MS65 or something like that. But just beautiful, beautiful coins. Thought I'd bring you in and show you. The rest of those were all Philadelphia, so nothing to check there for errors. But very cool. We're going to go ahead and start getting into the rest of these rolls, and I'll bring you in as we find things. So I've got rolls 8, 9, and 10 out in front of us. I've been continuing to add to our massive stack of Bicentennials, and I have come across some little die chips and errors along the way, and I covered these kind of quite ad nauseum in my last video, so I did just skip right over them. But I've got another Eleanor Roosevelt here, a couple of them that have the die chip here in the hat. I do have, and you can see it without being under the magnification here, we do have a wart on the nose, die chip on the nose 2022P Wilma Mankiller. So that's kind of a new one. We haven't seen that one in a little while, and I'll put some comps up on the screen and the value of these things as we go. And then I've got a couple of those die-cracked Eleanor Roosevelts, and almost all of these are 2023 Ps. For some reason, Philadelphia just doesn't have the quality control that Denver does. But here you can see that die crack that comes all the way down and around through the hat. We've got 2 of those. And the other thing I pulled, just because it was so nice, I'm sure it's going to be a book upgrade. I've got a 2011 Oklahoma Denver, and this one's just really, really pretty. Those 2009, 10, and 11 quarters tend to be a little harder to find, especially in good condition. While most years of quarters are, 150, 200, 300 million in mintage. When you get into the 09s and the 10s and the 11s, they're closer to like 30 to call it 75 million. So a lot of people do hang on to those because they're just harder to find. That's not why I brought you in, though. Here we go, roll number 8. We've come across our first West Point quarter in a good long while. You can see that W mint mark there. The cheapest W's on eBay go for about $10. And again, we'll do comps for these as we find them if we find more than one. But we have an American Memorial Park. Now, this one's not in great shape. It is well circulated, so you'd have to probably take a little bit of money off for that, but you'd still sell this on eBay. Unfortunately, the demand for these have come down since they first came out in 2019 and 2020, but they're still a nice little boost to your wallet if you can find them. Again, West Point minted. only released in 2019 and 2020. And the 2020s actually have a V75 privy, so you can tell from the front whether you have a 2019 or a 2020. So anyway, American Memorial Park W, really excited. Haven't found one of these in a good long while. Okay, well, I've got rolls 12, 13, 14, and 15 out in front of me. Roll 11 was a dud, but I do have one coin that I wanted to call out, and I haven't found one of these in a good long while. You don't need the scope to see this, but I want to point it out a little bit, be a little easier to see under the scope. This is known as the leaky bucket error, and it's where we get big die chips underneath the bucket, under the little water pump here in front of the building or in front of the cottage. And the more die chips you have down here that makes it look like pools of water, the more these are worth. So we have a giant die chip here underneath the base of the pump and some water leaking out of the bucket here. Now the really valuable ones, the die chip comes here and comes all the way down, and you have a big die chip here, and it really does look like water coming out of that bucket. Now this coin has the most double die reverses on it if you're new to coin roll hunting, and typically it's issues here where we've got doubling in the window panes or doubling in this handle of the water pump there. The other thing to look out for is snow on the roof, and again, that's just die chips that are left up here on the roof, and the really valuable ones, the snow will start down here, run all the way to the peak, and come all the way down the other side, and those can be worth a pretty penny as well. Well, we got rolls 14 and 15 out here, and we found something that we love to find, but it looks a little different. It's one of the newer versions of it that I've never seen before. We've got a Panamanian Balboa. Now, I'm used to finding the older version of these from like the, call it late 60s, early 70s, where Balboa is very sort of raised and it's very almost a three-dimensional looking coin, and that's why I love it so, because it's got a lot of texture to it, but I've never found one that's kind of flat. I mean, it's a little raised, but it's flat, right? This is one of the newer ones from 2017. It is a copper nickel clad from Panama. But these make their way into Atlanta quarters quite frequently, but I love all my Balboas, so I hang on to them. We are into roll number 18. Actually, it was like the first coin off the rip here, and I've shown you both of these, but this time we've got one of these 2023 Philadelphia Eleanor Roosevelts with the die crack and the die chip, all in a single coin. So this is one you might be able to get an extra buck or two for, simply because it's got both errors on the same coin, and it's actually in really, really good shape. So we're on the very same roll, and we've come across a 2000 and I think it's the 2008 Alaska with the extra cactus leaf, and again, really, really nice quarter. Kind of, I would say this is almost uncirculated to barely uncirculated. But if you don't know what you're looking for, it is a little die chip down here over the engraver's initials, and I can't remember. I always say it's JIM, maybe it's JFM, can't recall, but that little piece of metal right there is not supposed to be there. And based on my last video, if you can find one that's got the die chip there and right in here, they can be worth a little bit more money. Well, that wraps up our $200 little customer wrapped quarter hunt. We actually did pretty well considering we only had $200. Of course, it helps when you have one roll that was just loaded with Bicentennial quarters, if you collect such things. We ended up with 18 of the Denver minted Bicentennial and two kind of stunners in here. These would probably be low mint state quarters if I had to guess. They were all checked for the double die obverse, and of course we didn't find it. We've been on the hunt for that for about 4 years now and still have not found one. We did end up with 24 of the Phillies, and again, I just pulled 4 of the nicest ones. But they were just some gorgeous Bicentennials in here, so I wouldn't doubt that this came from some kind of collector. Unfortunately, there wasn't anything else in those rolls to speak of. Moving on down here into our errors, we did find some pretty cool stuff. The Arizona, and I will put values in the upper right-hand corner of these things and some eBay comps just so you guys can see, but an absolutely gorgeous Arizona 2008 with that extra cactus that you can actually see without the need of too much magnification. We did, and it's been a while since we've gotten one of these, but a really, really fine example of a leaky bucket where we have those die chips down below the pump and under the bucket. Unfortunately, this quarter is nowhere near a mint state condition, so not sure you'd get top dollar for it. I'll try to keep that in mind when I give you guys some comps. The American Memorial Park, even though this one is not in great shape, it is a W. These were very limited vintage, 2 million per design in 2019 and 2020. And even in this condition, they're going for about $7 to $10 with shipping on eBay, and in nicer conditions, even more than that. So pretty nice find. Anytime we can get these W's, we love finding them, preferably closer to mint state, but I'll take them in any condition. So they're out there. They're tougher and tougher to come by now that so many people are collecting them, but they are out there. We did have a couple of examples of the die chip, and I can't remember which one this one is. Let's take a look under the scope because it is harder to see. So this is the stack with the die chips on the brim of the hat. Now, we've covered these in a couple of videos now. They're pretty common. I'm finding a handful of those in nearly every hunt now. And of course, we have the ones that have the big die crack running through the hat. Again, easier to see under some heavier magnification. You can kind of see it here just with the camera. That kind of goes down here through the hat all the way up here through the corner. But we found 3 of those in this hunt. And these little die chips on the nose, or a lot of times they're called the wart air, these can be pretty valuable. Now, this one was on the Wilma Mankiller. Quarter's not in terrible shape. We've got some contact marks from being in circulation, but overall, still a pretty decent looking quarter. No idea what that's going to go for. Probably a couple of bucks, maybe as low as $1, maybe as high as $4 or $5, but I'll check eBay and we'll put a value in the upper right-hand corner. Now, we did have one foreign, and it's my favorite foreign to find. We've got ourselves a Panamanian Balboa. Never found one like this before, though, or maybe this is the second one, but it looks like it's got a little bit of a proof finish to it. You can see the reflection in it from 2017. I hang on to all my Balboas because I think they're just gorgeous coins. And I did end up with 2 book fillers. We got ourselves, or not fillers, but upgrades. We got the 2011 Oklahoma Denver. Check my book. It's going in this National Park quarter. And then, of course, next to it, I did have a 2005 California that was just stunning from Denver, and that'll fill up a spot in my state quarter, or be a replacement coin in my state quarters. So anyway, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I know I did. I know my last video I said it would be the last one of 2023. This one most likely is, unless I get lucky and come across some really cool stuff while I'm traveling. So again, if you did enjoy this video, let me know. Drop on down below, click that like button, and leave me a comment. If you're new to the channel, make sure you do click on that subscribe button. We've grown like crazy in the last couple of, I would say, weeks to months, with just crossing 10,000 subscribers a few days ago and just crossed 11,000 last night. So super excited, for that to have happened. So if you are new to the channel, please consider clicking on that subscribe button and then clicking on that bell and select all so you get notified each and every time I do release a new video. I'd really appreciate it. Special shout out to all my channel members. Thank you guys for supporting the channel each and every month. A few of you have said you couldn't find the join button, and maybe it's because you're on mobile, but on PC it's really easy. If you scroll down below this video, there is a join button that you can click and read all about our membership tiers. On mobile, I'll have to check it out. I don't know if I've ever tried to join a channel on mobile, but I'm sure there's a join button somewhere within the description or below on your mobile device. Well, with that, I hope you guys are doing great. I hope you have a Merry Christmas, a Happy Holidays, whatever it is you celebrate, and a super Happy New Year's. Take care, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.